What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time NBA Style. I am Britt Devine here with the prop man himself, Mr. Chief Justice 06. Will, talking pre-show real quick. The baddest of beats I feel like I've been on this week. I'm hoping it doesn't translate into some of the basketball props I got for tonight. But Jared Stidham, first half fantasy points, me and you in the prop shop for football. He has it. He has that fumble at the last second of the first half to go under his first half fantasy points. I know we both had a lot on that. I was on the Jets today to lose that on that ridiculous safety at the end, the plus, I think it was plus 3.5 for that to go up in flames. I'm like, there's no way I can lose. I'm celebrating for that to lose. It's I'm a little riled up on the bad beats, but that doesn't stop me from making it back in basketball and some props tonight.
Listen, man, coming in hot. I'm going to be involved on this slate. The football slate. I mean, it doesn't stop, Brett. We've got bills to pay, and Mama needs a new pair of shoes. So we got to keep pushing it.
The county tax bill.
The tax bill is coming, Brett.
It does not care about tax bill.
The tax bill is on the way. We crossed into 2023. Oh my goodness!
Not care that the Jets
coming.
Gave up a safety in the last play of the game.
Oh gosh.
Anyway. Let's jump into this slate, Chief, with news. So we just got the Memphis news a couple of minutes ago. So if you guys were laying under a rock the past 15, 20 minutes, Ja Morant's out. That's going to make a lot of the Memphis guys pop. The projections have been updated. If you wanted to refresh, if you weren't on RotoGrinders Premium, you can refresh and get the updated projections. What we are waiting for, Chief, we could have chaos at any minute in terms of the rest of the night because we're waiting on Minnesota. We're waiting on the Clippers. We're waiting on a couple other things to go on here. So with the news that's left, what's the most important stuff we're waiting on right now?
Well, so I guess for me, I'm going to talk about kind of so we know Luka is out. Ja's out.
Yep. Steven Adams is out.
Yeah, Steven Adams is out. Steven Adams being out might be bigger than Ja being out for what it's worth. As crazy as that sounds, because I think it helps these Utah guys a little bit more inside, but take that for what it's worth. Are we waiting on?
We're waiting on Anthony Edwards on Minnesota. We're waiting on him. He's questionable. We're waiting on Paul George. We're going to wait and see what he does.
Paul George was the big one for me.
Yep. So we got to wait and see on those ones. And Paul George is 9:00. I don't know if we're going to have that before lock. I'm hoping sometime in any second now, an hour and a half before this Minnesota game. It was 5:30. I'm hoping we get something on Anthony Edwards because that could be a slate changer. We have so much value. I guess I want to throw this at you real quick. If Anthony Edwards is out for some reason, are we upping anyone on Minnesota over some of these Memphis guys, over some of these Dallas guys? Or I don't know. The Memphis value, the Dallas value is so good that I don't even know if Anthony Edwards sits. Obviously, I might try to get D'Angelo Russell in, but he's not like ultra cheap. I don't really even know if I'm jamming in some of these fringe plays from Minnesota. I think we're set with Memphis and Dallas if we want to go ahead with it.
Yeah, I think you're good. The thing is, man, D'Angelo Russell, I'm going to use Fanduel for this current one. Like D'Angelo Russell and Rudy Gobert might be like insane plays at these prices on Fanduel. Like $77K for D'Lo and 7,600 with no Anthony Edwards. I do think that's a big deal.
Gobert is 6,700 on DraftKings.
Like I don't know if I'd be able to avoid that in a game with the Rockets. If they were playing Miami, Boston, any of these other teams, or some of the better defensive teams, I might be a little bit more cautious. But I mean, they got a matchup with Houston, one of the best spots of the night. I think the right call there is to play the value, and I think get at least one of these guys, or play. Maybe play two or three lineups.
Let me jump in. Anthony Edwards is a game time decision now, so that has come out in the last couple of minutes. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that. Left hip soreness, you're just gonna have to risk it, and maybe late swap in there. I think as it stands right now, Chief, I'm going with the Memphis value. I'm going with Dallas. I don't even know if league swapping to some of these guys. The lineups are so good as it is right now. I don't think I'm going to mess around with the Minnesota guys. I just want to put that in right now, unless we get a word in the next 20 minutes, which I don't think we will. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I want to jump into some cash game construction. We'll start on our sponsor, Fanduel. Thanks to them for sponsoring Crunch Time all season long. Really appreciate it. Check out their sports book. They've got free offers out there for some free bets. Not free bets, but risk-free bets. You get a bet back if you happen to lose on your first bet and you're a new customer. Cash game locks, FanDuel. Tyus Jones, 5K. Usage, he is averaging in 87 minutes with Steven Adams, Morant, Clark, and I put Danny Green out too. 50 fantasy points per 36 minutes. I think that's a little high, but it's pretty clear with all these guys out. He's someone you're going to want absolutely 100% on both sites tonight as a cash game lock. Along with Desmond Bane, he's a lock for me on FanDuel as well. At the shooting guard spot, you can expect him to take, I don't know, if he approaches 25-ish shots tonight, wouldn't be surprising, along with some extra peripherals. Spencer Dinwiddie, both sites, an absolute must play. I think he really disappointed in the last, wasn't it, Chief, one of the last times out without Luka? But
That's okay.
I'm going right back. And if you're worried about the points, my favorite prop on him tonight is the assists. In both games without Luka, his possible or potential assists go way up. He's hit his assist line both times without Luka. I think this year maybe even 3 times. So I like Dinwiddie. Going to play him on both sites. You can play Wood on both sites as well, but I think for sure you're playing him on FanDuel at that power forward position. You've got a couple. I mean, the power forward position between Wood, Jackson, and Markkanen. Now on FanDuel, you can throw Markkanen into the small forward spot, which I think is absolutely great. Looks really good. You've got Dylan Brooks at the small forward spot as well on FanDuel. I think he's pretty interesting. And on center, with not knowing exactly what's happening with Rudy Gobert and D'Angelo Russell, I'm playing DeAndre Ayton. I know what I'm getting out of Ayton without Paul, without Booker. He's going to be the offense today against Cleveland. So I'm looking at DeAndre Ayton as one of my mainstays at the center position. If for some reason you're not playing Jaren Jackson at power forward, I would play him. They're both cheaper than Rudy Gobert on FanDuel. So really quick, that's the FanDuel cash game thoughts from myself. Chief, from a tournament perspective on FanDuel, if we're all playing, this is how I like to ask these questions when we have all this value for basketball on the weekends, it seems like every time I do these shows. Of all the value guys we're playing, Tyus Jones, Dinwiddie, you can throw Bane in there. You've got Washington from the Suns in there. You've got Shamet, who I think is a much better play on DraftKings than FanDuel. Of all of those guys that are going to be really high owned today, which one is most likely to fail or / not give you the best chance of winning a large field tournament today?
Ooh, man. If I had to guess, it would be Shamet against Cleveland, just because he's got one of the tougher matchups on the board. I don't expect Spencer Dinwiddie to fail today, or THJ. Tyus, I don't expect him to fail against the Jazz. If there's one guy that I would expect, it would be Landry Shamet. He would be my top bust.
All right. So maybe not a bust, but the most likely to be a bust of all the other ones. I want to make that clear for everybody. All right. So from a tournament perspective, we've got Utah, Memphis, and everyone's playing Dallas. How are you, if you're playing Dallas, do you just run it? If all these Dallas guys, then SGA, because SGA is certainly going under-owned tonight with the ability to pop off against any team. And now without Luka in there, I don't know, maybe this game will be a little bit more competitive. They're favored right now by about 4 points. Is that like an auto plug-in? Because he's coming in at such low ownership. The problem is all the values at the guard spots. So if you plug him in, your lineup is very different. So I think it's an interesting way to mix it up in tournaments to maybe not auto play SGA, but to be over the field with them because, of course, you're playing all the Dallas guys. That's my one tournament take. Lots of SGA.
Yeah, for sure. I don't mind that at all. And think about SGA too, Britt, that I really like. He's got the ability to put up 30+ real points. So roll with me here. The likelihood of him being a complete bust it's just very low because he scores so many real points. And so I'm with you there. I really like SGA. I think if I had one big tournament play today, and I'm not going to call it big because we're waiting on the news. I think I would go ahead and put the Minnesota guys in my lineup, D'Angelo and Rudy Gobert, and like literally go ahead and take the chance now because I think they don't get as much ownership later on because everybody's going to be hitting this other value like already. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Memphis game starts an hour before the Minnesota game. The Dallas game starts later. And so the Dallas game starts the same time as the Minnesota game. And so you probably get news on that game, I would say maybe at the latest 30 minutes before lock or 15 minutes before the game starts. And I think people will just be comfortable just playing Memphis, playing Dallas, sprinkling in some SGA and some other guys, and they're going to be okay letting it fall by the wayside. Same thing with the Clippers game. I don't think people are going to be rushing to play Kawhi if Paul George is out, so forth and so on. So that's kind of where I want to experiment a little bit and kind of take a chance early against the field because I don't think they're going to be comfortable enough to take it right now.
Mm-hmm. What are your favorite spend ups, right? Because people aren't really the Kevin Durant, SGA, at least on Fanduel. You can even talk on DraftKings a little bit too. These guys are just going under owned tonight because there's just so much mid-tier value. And then, like you have Wood and Markkanen and those guys who are just and Jaren Jackson who just project so well now that you don't need the ultimate high end. If you are on the high end tonight, Durant, SGA, Trae Young, which one's your favorite tournament play tonight?
SGA, hands down. Absolutely, SGA would be my favorite.
He's rocked Dallas twice already this year too, so I like.
And no Luka, a little bit watered down. Like this is a good spot for him.
All right, I'm going to go over to DraftKings from the cash game perspective real quick. It's very similar to what I started at the top of the show. The one main addition on DraftKings, the two plays you're more likely to play on DK than you are on FanDuel today are Washington and Shamet from the Suns. These guys are just way too cheap. Washington is 3,600 and Shamet is 4,600, 4,700, 4,600 over on DraftKings today. So you've got your basics: Jones, Bane, Dinwiddie. I think Washington for cash is definitely a lock on DraftKings today. Going to be playing. I think we've got them at 25 minutes. I might take the over on that. So you have those guys. You've got Shamet. You mix it in with the Woods, the Hardaway Juniors, the Jaren Jackson Jr. You mix it in with those guys, and you end up with a very nice lineup over on DraftKings. It's the same core. But Washington and Shamet are two additions you might need over on DraftKings today. Before we get to questions, if you guys want to start firing them off in our NBA Crunch Time chat on Discord for premium members and on YouTube. Chief, grand scale of things tonight from a tournament. People got about 15 minutes to get some lineups in. Give me a couple of thoughts you're thinking popping off on your head. A couple guys that might maybe be difference makers tonight. I think we're both on SGA as one of those as a low on play. You got anybody else, and you got any game stacks other than Dallas, OKC, other than Utah, Memphis that you might be looking at that just aren't going to get a lot of ownership tonight?
Minnesota, Houston. Listen, I'm telling you, like this game yet again, and I feel like I've kind of talked about this game before, and another team was in a spot against Houston. No, that was a Golden State game that night, but. Minnesota, Houston, I think is the spot for me. I just don't see the ownership going there. And so I'd be readily excited to put in D'Angelo, Rudy Gobert, and then, plug in, and you'd kind of be overpaying, but you'd be overpaying for them being down one of their primary scorers. I'd plug in Kevin Porter, Jabari Smith, Jalen Green single, one of those guys that roll from there. Like I like this game. 231 total. Not the highest on the board tonight, but definitely could have some fireworks here. It's one of the highest between Memphis and the Memphis game and this game.
And I'm sort of interested in the Clippers game. One, I like Kawhi quite a bit. He has no more minutes restriction. And I'm expecting him to play his 34, 35, 36 minutes in a competitive game. And he has the ability to post these 45, 50 fantasy points. You're going to need massive scores tonight, in my opinion. So you're going to need one of the 40 or 50s, but Paul George is getting double the ownership at $800 more on DraftKings. Paul George, 1, is questionable, so we don't know what's going on there. 2, Kawhi Leonard should play full minutes. I know that's what our projections have there. Sort of like him tonight as sort of the another low-owned play to add into SGA. And the ownership might even be lower than this with just how many people are going to be jamming in Memphis, Utah, Dallas, OKC. If we get Minnesota, if Anthony Edwards sits, the late swappers, they're just going to be going ham on some of these Minnesota guys. The ownership on a guy like Kawhi is going to fall. So he is someone I am interested from a tournament perspective. Anyone on Cleveland? Garland's question. If Garland sits, definitely Donovan Mitchell. But if Garland's back, I think Garland is reasonably interesting at 7,900. I think that price makes a reasonable amount of sense. That is another bit of news we're waiting on. So just keep that in mind if you're able to stay tuned for the rest of the night in basketball. If you don't get hooked to the Chargers playing all their starters and then Mike Williams and Bosa limping off the field in a meaningless game, if that doesn't get your blood going, I don't understand that.
These coaches, man, like what are they doing? It makes no sense.
I get it for a drive or two, right? But not the whole first half. That just makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it at all when you have nothing to play for. But anyway, I'm not an NFL coach, Chief. But yeah,
you could be.
I don't know if I could be an NFL coach, but some of these guys.
You may not be able to coach the team, but you can help them make decisions. Hey, coach, might want to get him out.
Hey, who
might want to get him out of there.
All right, let's go to some questions. We're going to start in the Discord. NBA Crunch Time. We're going to get on those. Aside 12, FanDuel Cash, Brooks or Hardaway, straight up. My answer for sure is both on FanDuel Cash tonight. if you're asking straight up, but it is no doubt both. They are both in my FanDuel Cash game lineup. Let's see here. I want to go to the projections on this one. So let's see. What do we got here? I think they're both at the shooting guard spot. So we've got Brooks at 31.4, Hardaway at 32.86. If I'm taking one straight up, it's probably Hardaway, but the answer for sure for me is both tonight, Chief. You got one?
I like that call, big time.
All right. Let's see. Brooks or
Hardaway?
Hardaway? Everyone wants
because the price difference isn't big enough to me to like. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Let me try to make it easy for them. Brooks is probably in a slightly better spot, like slightly better. But I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is probably a better shooter. Give me Tim Hardaway Jr. straight up.
Yeah, I'll take that too. Aside. All right, coming back with another one. FanDuel Cash 3v3. Pay attention, Chief. Markkanen, Bam, and Wood, or D'Lo, Durant, and Ayton.
D'Lo, Durant, Ayton, Markkanen, Bam, Wood. Give me Markkanen, Bam, Wood on that.
Yeah, give me Markkanen, Bam, Wood, but I'm going to throw Markkanen, Ayton, Wood, and figure out some way to get Brooks and Hardaway on that team would be my suggestion.
I like that call. I like that call.
I love DeAndre Ayton today. I am rolling with him. I don't even remember if he was in the optimals, but I just think he's going to be that entire offense tonight. As long as they don't get completely blown out against Cleveland, I'm expecting him to have a pretty nice game. All right, DraftKings tournament is from Dallas, Texas in the Discord. Bridges or Brooks? So we didn't even really talk about Miles Bridges. Steady Eddie, going to get some extra usage tonight.
Mikal Bridges?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got him at, I think I saw 38 minutes tonight. 30 fantasy.
Oh, yeah, he's going to play a lot of minutes. No doubt about it.
Yeah, what are we expecting out of him tonight? Do you think has more upside in the tournament or Dylan Brooks?
See, now that's where it gets tricky because Mikal is going to, if this game is tight, he's going to be involved in rebounding, stops, scoring, a handful of assists. I'm talking maybe 2, 3 at the most. Well, 4 at the most, I would say. But I think Mikal has more upside all around. Brooks has more upside, just pure scoring.
Yeah, Bridges, 34 fantasy points last game in 39 minutes, but he shot 2 for 10. So I think there's a little bit of upside into the 40s, especially tonight. Cleveland's not the most ideal opponent in the world, but I think he has a little bit of upside. But I think I'm going to take Brooks could drop 30 with some peripherals as well. I think I would take Brooks for some upside. Would be my specific take on that one. D-Rock wants to know, DraftKings tournament, any issue locking Tyus, Dinwiddie, Wood, Washington in a 3-entry max GPP? Absolutely not. You and all of your other friends will be hand-holding those 4 guys in a 3-entry max, in my opinion, tonight. Those are 4 of the highest-owned players, in my opinion, tonight. I have no problem using them and switching up somewhere else, Chief, because the value upside on these guys just simply looks too good.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
All right, that's keep getting the questions in. That ends Discord for the moment. I will go back to it in just a few seconds. Going to the YouTubes, again, there are quite a few of you watching. We would appreciate it if you click the like button. Helps other people find this great show brought to you by Fanduel, our sponsor. Again, thanks to Fanduel for sponsoring us all season long. Darren Unger from the YouTube. This is one I was wrestling with. Ayton or Gobert? So Gobert has been very frustrating all season long. He's put it together a couple of games in a row now. Ayton is just like he has the chance to be the offense tonight. I'm talking 25, 30 points, grabbing his 10 boards, a couple of peripheral stats too. If I knew D'Lo or Anthony Edwards was out, even if I knew Anthony Edwards is out, they're not going to run the offense through Rudy Gobert, right? It's never going to happen. Well, they're going to run the offense through DeAndre Ayton tonight. I'm on Ayton over Gobert, regardless of price on both sites. I think on DraftKings, our optimal was putting in Rudy Gobert. I overrode that. I'm playing DeAndre Ayton, and I switched off to something else to give myself a little bit more salary flexibility to get to Ayton. But I'm on Ayton straight up over Gobert tonight.
I like that call. I don't hate that. I personally, I like Rudy against Houston, but that's more of a they're playing Houston call, not like he's better than Ayton for what it's worth, if that makes any sense.
All right, I want to talk. Someone mentioned Jaden Hardy in his minutes. So he's set at 25 minutes for projections tonight. What do you think of him? So maybe before we got all the Memphis value with Ja out, I was eyeing him as maybe a cash game lock. He has fallen off my cash game radar at the time. What are you expecting from him tonight? His ownership was super high earlier in the day. Now he's down into the teens. What do you think of him as a tournament option tonight?
I think it's kind of just okay, Britt. Like, I don't feel like you have to fade him, but it's just so much value all over the place. I don't feel like he's a necessity, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I was certainly, I would agree with that. Like I said, I was looking at him quite a bit earlier in the day. Then once Ja got ruled out, he sort of fell to the back burner for me. Do you think there's upside on the 25 minutes? I was looking at the rotation. It seems about right from what I would expect from Dallas tonight. I don't think he's going to start. Yeah, I think the 25 is probably, maybe he can creep out a couple more if he's playing really good, but I don't see him hitting like 32 or 33 minutes or anything.
It's cheap enough, but you get what I'm saying. Like, he's cheap enough, but yeah, I don't think it's better than the other value.
All right, let's see. Got to go back to Discord. Don't see any questions there. Let me see here. Yes, Big Store. Brooks or Hardaway, we answered that. And Gobert. Tankenstein wants to know, Gobert in Washington or Ayton and Hardy? Man, God, I don't like. How about Ayton and Washington?
Right, that's what I'm going to say. Ayton Hardy feels way more thin than Gobert Washington, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think for that one I would play. Well, I think Washington definitely has a lot more upside than Hardy tonight. So I think the Gobert Washington one, if that's your option, is what I would say. Freyas wants to know DraftKings cash. So Xavier Tillman, right, with Adams out. I don't know. Probably not a cash game play for me. I would rather play, if you're looking in the utility, Tillman or Washington, if you had to pick one tonight, Chief.
I will say that I usually side with big men in this situation because of their ability to kind of get these cheap double-doubles. Let let me look at Memphis. I just want to see at least kind of where we have him projected at.
We got him at 21 minutes, which I think is about. I think that's a good projection.
Listen, I've got him at 26 now for Tillman. And around, give me Tillman, man, against Utah. If we got him projected for 26 minutes, 26 fantasy points, I do tend to side with the big men because of the rebound in the league. Give me Tillman.
You want Tillman on that one? All right. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see. What does this look like? Oh yeah, it looks like Tillman. Oh, that's over on FanDuel. Yeah, so I think if we got boosted him up to 26, I think he will creep into minutes. Yeah, I think he will creep into some cash game optimal teams there. All right, let's go to YouTube. Derek wants to know DraftKings tournament. I'm going to throw this to you. Ayton and JJ, Jaren Jackson, or Gobert and Wood. These are like all of them, right? This is so close.
That one is tight. Because I've been leaning Gobert. So let me say this, and you probably won't know. I go the Gobert route, speculating that Anthony Edwards sits. If Edwards doesn't sit, go the other route. But you might not be able to do that. Straight up right now, still give me Gobert. He's playing Houston.
Let's see here. Any other questions? Would you play? I know our optimals are looking at Anthony Edwards right now. I don't know if I would lock him in right now, unless I knew I could have an exact swap and I knew what I was going to do. Would you put Anthony Edwards in a cash game right now, Chief? I don't think I would do that.
No.
Yeah, I would not do that.
Like, not at all. I don't even know if I'd play Anthony Edwards tonight.
Yeah, so if any of you are looking at some of the optimals, I just know I would override that personally and X out Anthony Edwards and maybe try the next perfect optimal for you premium members. We got a couple minutes left. Real quick, if you're looking for bets, I mentioned Dinwiddie over 6.5 assists. That's a 7:00 game. You got a little bit of time to get that. I played Kyle Anderson assists 3.5. That's coming up real quick. You got like a minute. Well, no, you got like 10 minutes because they let you run up to tip on those games. So Kyle Anderson assists was 3.5. Chief, if you got access to that anywhere, that is those are like 2 must plays if they're on the board anywhere for you on the prop sites. So
yeah, I wish they gave them to us. You know they're not doing that.
So those are ones I got those on the books. That's about. I think that's all I got. I had so many NFL today. I couldn't get too into the weeds in NBA props, but those were the 2 I made in the last hour leading up to the show, prepping for everything. Anything else, Chief? If the 6:00 games are about to lock, anything you want to say real quick here on any of the 7:00 or later games?
I think for me, like I said, my big one is this Houston game. Like this Edwards news to me is very important. If he's out, like I said, I mean, that's going to make Gobert, Russell, Daniels, Anderson. I think it's going to make these guys more appealing. Probably a little bit of Jalen Noel off the bench as well. Now, I don't think Jalen Noel or Jaden McDaniels is a better value than Tyus Jones. Like, I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. I think this game environment could yield really good fantasy results if Anthony Edwards is out. And so I really want to lean into that tonight because I don't think a lot of people are going to do it because the value is mostly established already. And that's just me kind of going against the grain on the field.
All right. Let's see. Don't really see any other questions in the YouTube. Don't see any on there. You got any thoughts on tonight's football game, Chief? We got the Packers and the Lions. What's the situation on this one? What are they waiting for? My NFL mind has left me to prepare for the basketball show. So what are the Lions waiting on in terms of playoff?
So they just need to see
if the Seahawks and Rams, right? The Rams got to win.
Yeah, but if the Seahawks win, then all Detroit is playing for is to just eliminate Green Bay.
Yep.
If the Seahawks lose, Detroit has everything to play for. And I do mean everything.
Yeah, Rams are up 13-6. They've got the ball in the first half here. So it looks like I need I think Tyler Higbee's got 29 yards. I think I got it at 28.5. So it looks like I've secured that one. That one was a big bet for me. Akers is doing well. Kenneth Walker's halfway there. Geno Smith turtling. Geno Smith, right? What a start to the season, Chief. But he leads the league in, according to PFF, to turnover-worthy plays. Kind of a letdown to close out the season there for Geno. So not really sure if they're – I'm sure they'll run him back one more year with him. But really started off as a superstar, sort of fading down the stretch here. I am on the Rams, so I like this score, 13-6 right now. But, looks if you were playing some showdown tonight, Chief, you got any takes for tonight's game? How's this going to play? Pretend the Lions have everything to play for. What are we doing in this game? Jamal Williams anytime TD? Get that Jamal Williams anytime TD.
Yeah. Take that all day. All day.
I like that one. All right, I think we're going to end the show. I don't see too many.
I am on, for what it's worth, I am on, what's his face? Aaron Rodgers under yards, for what that's worth.
Under?
And Jared Goff, actually. As long as they're both like in the 250s, I'm on it. They're at Lambeau. Like, I think it's unders on both.
Goff outside in cold weather is a horrible, horrible quarterback throughout his career. So, I like that one specifically for the Lions. But the Jamal Williams, I almost like the Jamal Williams anytime touchdown, Chief, if they were eliminated, because then they would just give him the ball inside the 5 to get him the touchdown. Where if they have everything to play for, like if it's on the 1 yard line, they're going to give it to him because that's where all of his touchdowns have come from. But I already bet that one. I might add if the Seahawks come back, I might add a little bit more to that one. I like it more. It makes no sense, but I think I can make it make sense. I like it more if the Lions have nothing to play for because they'll get it no matter what. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Chief, I'll see you on the Prop Shop show on Tuesday morning, as long as all the props are released on the prop sites. We got, if you guys ever want, if you have access to some of those, or you want to play props on Fanduel or whatever like that. We do. Whoa, what? What do you got?
No, and we need to talk about that because if you listened on Tuesday and you got on these Minnesota unders as we talked through it.
We did it live on the show, Chief. Only thing that saved me this
gosh. The Minnesota Brady, I think, did we talk a little bit about Brady under as well? Or maybe that was another show. But if you got on some of that action, you should have done fairly okay. Love Diggs this week as well, especially 71.5. Yeah, I know he got it with the long touchdown at the end, but it doesn't matter. Like the prop was closed. So it's been an okay week. Not as big as it could have been if we got Stidham and some other guys. I know we're talking NFL, but hey,
check out the Prop Shop. It's on Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. If you want to get in, you got to listen to that as soon as it hits the podcast feed. You got to watch this thing on Tuesday afternoon. You get in, Chief and I go over all the props, and you can get in on these lines that are so good. It's like money is being given away. Now, it doesn't always work, but it sure seems like that a lot of times. Chief and I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but we've done a pretty good job on it all season long for a new show. And I think might be its last week. Maybe we'll run it throughout the playoffs, but our first playoff show, Tuesday, 10 o'clock. Check it out on the podcast feed after that or on YouTube. An absolute must listen to, in my opinion. All right, Chief, we're getting out of here. Enjoy your basketball. Enjoy your football. Enjoy dinner. Enjoy life. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Click that like button on the way out, please. For Chief, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, and we out.